그렇지. 그렇지.
Oh, this is weird. I went on vacation with the wife.
Your kid plays sports out. Check 1, 2.
Hey, 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. Hey, 1, 2. 1, 2, 2.
So, all right, well, let's call this meeting order. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Note that this public meeting is being recorded in accordance with Montana law. All those in attendance are advised that the public portions of this meeting will be recorded in audio video format. At the end of the meeting, those who present consent to being recorded and displayed in photos that will be posted on the school district website. Please contact the district office if you have any questions concerning handling school district recording obligations under Montana's meeting law. Is there any public comment or anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, perfect. Nothing to change at the moment. We'll talk about stuff as we go along.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so we'll start on reports. We don't really have to do many reports, so I guess we'll do finance report, which is technical things.
So I included information on the claims and warrants for June. We are June 30th was the fiscal year end, so we are working on getting reports ready for OPI, the trustees' financial reports and budget reporting. And we had 2 donations, one from Bitterroot Valley Kiwanis for Keystone for $500, and then the Arthur Blank Foundation for flag football for $10,000. And then I did include some information on workers' comp and the loss experiences. And if you look down at the third paragraph there, losses by job classification. Just kind of wanted to know, because normally you think our custodians are the highest accidents, but we've actually got teachers' aides and teachers, instructors, counselors, and that is due to children biting, hitting, kicking, and so that there's a rise statewide in those claims. The other area I wanted to focus on is on the next page and the modification factor. And if you see that 25-26 was 0.97 and for 26-27 it's 0.89. So what that means is because our experience is getting better, our claims are getting fewer and less expensive, that last year we paid 97 cents on the dollar of our premium, but this year we'll pay 89 cents. So that is an improvement. At one point in time, our mod factor was 1.2, so we paid above and beyond what our premiums were. The other thing I wanted to note, we had a slight decrease in our unemployment insurance, and then they're having a rate holiday. So that will equate to about a $3,400 savings on unemployment. And then I wanted to take a quick minute to just discuss tuition and the amounts that we're paying other schools and other schools are paying us. And these are preliminary right now because they have until the 15th, which is tomorrow, to get us their invoices. But if you look at the first box where it's tuition due from other districts. So for this year, we received $530,000, or just about $531,000 in tuition from other schools. Next year, because of the change in calculation, we're going to receive $372,000. And then for the 27-28 year, that's going to be less because this year we could take 35% of the tuition rate. For 27-28, it's going to be 20%. So the tuition that we will be getting and in theory having to pay will be reduced.
So is that 372 after what we have to pay other districts?
That is,
Before that isn't included.
that does not include.
So what do we have to pay other districts?
We have to pay the other district that's on the
Is
next,
that what I'm jumping to?
on the next one. So last year we paid 193.
Sorry.
This year I have invoices and it was 285,000. But there's been a correction at one of the schools. So at this point, it's 237,000. So an increase of about 44,000.
Is that because we lost that many students to other districts this year?
It's not, well, I think we lost some students when you look at Corvallis, but some of it is special ed costs. So it depends on, there's the tuition rates for, that's just based totally on the numbers. And then some of the students with special needs, it's their actual costs. So, so if if you look at our bill to Victor's, it's down significantly, and that's basically due to us,
Extra support for the
Ex-
student,
right.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So, and as I said, where they're changing the formulas, these numbers will decrease next year as well, because we swapped, because of the formulas that are determined by OPI. And then I just wanted to note that at the next board meeting, it's also the final budget hearing, so you'll be setting the budgets and setting the levies and approving the budgets for the 26-27 school year.
But Kathy, I don't know if you wanna mention anything, but just a reminder that that will be different and not as comparable to last year due to the county-wide
General fund.
general fund, so just throwing that out there.
So a little different. Yep. Perfect. Any more questions, concerns?
Kathy, just to clarify, what we're receiving and what we're being invoiced for are both gonna drop to 20% of tuition next year?
Right. Not including special ed costs. Yeah, so 35% this year, 20% next year.
So the exchange is 35% of the A and B down to 20% of the A and B.
That goes both ways, what we're paying and what we're receiving, so it should be kind of a wash.
Yeah, and I will just make this comment, you're noticing that these numbers are not drastically different one way or the other. It's a tremendous amount of work and stress on the business office to get all of these things together. They spend an absurd amount of time getting all this stuff organized.
I did request from OPI that they make FP14s permanent, because at this point in time, the parent signs them, and then they come to the board, and you approve them, and it's signed by the board chair, and then we send it to the other school. They take it to their board chair signs it, and then it comes back, so there's a lot of back and forth. So I asked them if they could just make it permanent, and unless they move, because, like in my situation, we did it came here to full 12 years, so doing that 12 times, and so if we could do that, but whether that makes it to the legislative session, I don't know.
I like the idea of the numbers. The end.
Yeah. The end.
You wanna go to a different school,
Move.
move.
It just seems such a huge waste of time back.
But what happens if your boyfriend goes to the other one?
What if they're bowling team together?
This is, yeah. This was not a problem before.
Yeah.
This
We're
is
fixing
common.
problems that didn't exist.
This was not a problem before because we didn't do this before. So,
Understood.
so then it didn't matter. We just said, oh, this would be.
Kathy, I appreciate you having our kids. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, yeah.
Cool. All right, any other questions for finance?
All right.
You wanna go on superintendent?
Yeah, so my report is really mostly related to what we talked about later in the board committees. So if you look at my report for the governance committee, it would be board chair Hanley and vice chair Johnson and Doliak would be on the governance. And then Hanley, Yocum, and Nyan Hughes, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, nice.
Am I close? Nyan House? Okay. Your name is one where I feel like I need to have more letters.
I mean, go for it.
I'm gonna figure it out. But, so negotiations and then, just continuing on facilities, Campbell and Yocum, and then school community relations, which I anticipate being our first committee to get going. Blankenmaker, Nine House, and Johnson, on that committee, and then curriculum and instruction, Blankenmaker and Goliath. So I'll try to give everybody at least a couple of committees, not try to overwhelm, but we'll get those rolling and get some meetings scheduled and start to get processes built and, go from there.
What are your, I guess, ideal kind of goals for these committees to meet monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, every quarter?
Yeah, so on the bottom, the frequency of meetings,
Frequency, I see.
I'm trying not to put multiple meetings happening within a month. Just so that we're not constantly meeting, but to spread some of these things out. And I don't wanna meet just to meet. Your time is valuable, and I wanna make sure that we have the right material in place to be having a conversation so that we can take some action. Last two things in my report, just FYI, I know you know this, but we switched over to Bridge Health as of July 1st. Special thanks to the business office for that work, Jen Pitzinger, and the enrollment and all of those sorts of things. Big, heavy lift, but we're off and running. And then Cognia, I've been writing our summaries for their review team, so trying to pull together all of the conversation that we've had the last 6 months with schools and administrators, and we'll get that support submitted, and then they will give us some feedback in October. They'll actually come on site and they'll start interviewing and talking with us and talking with kids, talking with teachers throughout the district, just to check in to see, you know, what they're hearing. Is the sorts of things that are reported, are they matching what kids understand, what staff understands, those sorts of things, and then they'll provide us some feedback. So
What is Cognia?
Cognia is it's a company, but it is for accreditation. So you can either choose as a school district to do your accreditation through the Office of Public Instruction, Montana OPI, and they have a checklist and requirements. Cognia is another method for doing that. I find that to be more thorough, it's more collaborative, and so that's the one we're using.
Cool, thank you.
Don't they also help build our mission, vision, values?
Yeah, they review to make sure we're lining up with all of that, and then we're not getting too frayed outside of our goals and objectives and things like that. Yeah. So that's my report.
Do you know, in terms of for insurance, do we get more enrollment when we move to Bridge to less enrollment? Do you have any idea?
That's a good question. I don't know that. I don't think we had a significant change in the number of employees that took the insurance.
I was just kind of curious, because of the rate changes and stuff like that, we gained more, lost more, whatever. So just curious. Okay, perfect. Any other questions for Dave? All right, keep rolling along. So since they're here, do you guys want to say anything about your stuff? Maybe Trevor, I hate to like wave you up.
So we got a lot of projects kind of going on, just kind of let you guys know what we got. The wall in the high school, up in the second floor wall, that had started, and we got the pillars are up, the wall's up there, but the contractor had to leave for a little bit, so I'm not sure that will be completed. Hopefully, he thinks it'll take like a day or two to finish, but we're still waiting. Go by the high school right now, you can see that gym's half painted, looking really good. You can kind of, they're halfway done, so you can see the good contrast on it, looks really good. And they've started on Washington, and which is in need of some deep love. So hopefully that will brighten up that building, because there's a lot of windows, just even changing out the window panes and stuff, just because that wood was so worn and stuff, that it's gonna make that look a lot better. And then got carpet going in several places and stuff, so. And the lights, our LED lighting that we've been working through, we're basically, we don't want to say basically, we're done with the main stuff in the high school. One of those things, every time you turn around, it's like, oh, there's lights here. There's a lot of lights in that building, so, but it's all the classrooms, all the hallways, gym area, all that's all done. It's, you know, closets and stuff like that that we're kind of weeding through, and some weird lights that are different lights that we got to figure out options on that. And then we'll like to get daily done this summer. Daily doesn't have a lot because most of it was converted during the construction, 6 years ago. So hopefully we can get that done this summer and jump to the next building next year.
Perfect. Yeah, Tom?
We're just doing summer program. We would probably average about 300 in the gym a day.
Perfect. Tom, any words of refinement?
Fun, maybe. Just, I guess, kind of a few key things. Dave had me bring down, we did get the new Suburban and Acadia. They're sitting right out here after the meeting. If anybody wants to see them, look around them about the keys. Really, really nice rigs, super happy with them. We also are scheduled next week, Jamie and I are going down to Twin Falls, Idaho to get Nick a new lunch truck that we found down there, as well as an equipment trailer. In the same kind of thing, turnabout with the hydro seating at the tennis courts. The problem we've had with that has been the supply of the sod, the material that they mix with the seed and the water to do that absorbs with the seed. I didn't know, but the main plant down in Boise burned down last year. That was part of the problem, and they're not rebuilding. So trying to source it out, but there is some down in Idaho, right by Twin Falls. So haven't even had a chance to tell Dave this yet, but we're gonna pick that up while we're down there. So that'll expedite that. So we can get that all the way done. So other than that, just rolling with everything, trying to keep up with all the mowing, weed eating, spraying. It's an ongoing every year. So other than that,
Cool. Sounds good. All right, any questions or gentlemen made it? No? All right, cool. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. So in your board packet, you'll see personal report minutes, claims, out-of-district students, et cetera, et cetera. Anything of note?
No, just make sure that you've seen the updated personnel report.
So, okay, yeah, just some additional high school activity on this. All right. If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, first item of old business, the Fidel Court.
Yeah,
The news.
I saw one. I actually saw one. We were down in Arizona, and it looked like it was about 5,000 degrees inside of that glass case, and nobody touched it, but I did see one.
You'll have to go back to see them.
You'll have to go back there. So, yeah.
We'll have to go between October and May when you can actually enter the thing without dying.
So we've taken that project offline at the request of our donor. Just too many logistical things to resolve. And so they elected to just say, let's pull the plug. Christine, anything to add? You've really been.
I feel like we really tried to accommodate, and the donor is not at all disappointed in the school district. It's just turned out to be not the right time, not the right place. So, yeah, hopefully we're going forward with that relationship intact.
Yeah, there we are. So that's.
And we do, I mean, I just want to say for Mr. Patterson, we really appreciate his interest in the district. It was very flattering for him to come to us, and a really super interesting human being to get to know. So, yeah.
For sure. So, cool. All right, I'm gonna move. In your board pack, you will see.
Oh my God.
2022.
I feel like there should be like music or drum roll or something.
Fireworks or something.
Yeah.
So anyways, in your packet, you will see this other report. So, we won't have the same that we had in the past where they go through every line of this audit report. So the question is, do we want to sit on it and then approve it the next one, because now we have it, or do we want to just move ahead? And so then we
Can we move
It's
ahead?
4 years old.
it is 4 years old, so
We'll approve it, I don't think it's gonna approve it.
I don't think it's gonna change anything, so, but I'm just leaving it open if somebody wants to dive through all of this.
I guess when I am looking at the audit, so what I look at is like the last, because it was an unqualified opinion, which is basically the best that you can get, and the only corrective, so I'm gonna say ding, for lack of a better word, is the only problem that they found that we need to work on was that our audits are late. So,
The auditor found out.
The auditor found that out.
Oh,
so
My God.
it's a good audit.
It's just late.
It's just like,
Yes.
Quite late.
what are we doing years late for the next, are we still with
Ross Stahl.
Ross, or are we?
We are currently, what, no, do we send the letter?
We have not.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's up for some discussion, whether or not and there's,
We're still discussing, I thought we discussed that.
well, we did.
I thought we finally concluded that we were done.
But did we find someone? That's the.
We do not have anybody else at this point.
So we're gonna look out of state was how we left that, right? And we just not find anybody else.
We have not really dove into that yet. We've been waiting for this to come back, so. I'd say we get this going here and then have a decision over the next few days to.
Well, when you say this going, don't we just have to say
Approval of
approve
this.
this and
Part of the reason why folks are uninterested in us, when we kind of nose around a little bit, is that this stuff wasn't done. And so nobody really wants to take on this major project, because they're all late. So we are very limited in our options.
So now that he's completed this one, I mean, does that set him way ahead for the next one?
What we have contracted is a combination of the 23-24 year and then 2025.
But I guess what I'm asking is because he did all the work for this, even though it took forever in 3 days, is he set up better to finish the next one in a much quicker manner? Are we
That's not
gonna talk about
I
this
spoke
next
with him
summer?
today and he said that he is really swamped. So,
So he's already giving excuses for why it's gonna take just as long to do the next one.
I think he's trying to be open about his current situation, and some of it was health related, but obviously it doesn't affect our need to get current. I'm just sharing that because he shared it with us, and I think it's material consideration.
Yeah, well, if somebody's already offering excuses at the beginning for why it's gonna take too long, I would think that's minimum confidence.
What does
We gotta figure this
OEI
out.
say when there's no one out there?
They just tell us where to find somebody and get it done.
But yet they have to okay that
Yes,
person.
they do.
Well, the state okays the auditors.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that it's not OPI, it's the local government services division. But, and that's where there's other schools, I don't know who, that are in the same situation because ESSER, schools that never had to have audits, needed audits and auditors, and so there's a shortage.
And the state doesn't want to do anything about it?
I don't know if they can do anything about it, it's the individual practitioners that audit the schools.
And they have to be interested in wanting to do that work.
Sounds like a horrible job that nobody wants, but at the same time, OPI can't hold our feet to the fire when we don't have any options.
But now that the district's gone, if they're not receiving federal funds, that's the only reason we need to
Right.
do an audit.
So maybe the workload decreases.
Maybe the workload decreases because some of these smaller districts that don't receive them.
Don't need it
Don't
anymore.
need an audit, so hopefully this will change, especially after this year, which is basically.
But just in answer to your question, it is harder because when there's a new auditor, they have to look at the work papers of the
Right.
previous auditor and determine that their ending balances are correct so that they can use those as starting balances and moving forward, so.
Is he still, I mean, he told Christine that sounds like some pretty good excuses about why not, but is he on the hook to do it? And do we have a timeline that
He didn't say he won't do it, he just was very clear that he's digging out from, you know,
Right,
his
but
circumstance.
when we did that contract, right, we have the contract that he's essentially broke because of the timeline. Was there a timeline for the next two that he had to have it done by?
There were timelines in there, I don't remember what they were, I'm sure they're.
Do we need to revisit those and ask them if legally he's bound to complete them?
For
by the
sure, that, this is
contractual-
part of the things that
We
we
would have to
wanted to
request
go
the
through.
state, like, there are a couple options. One would be to approach it kind of from there are statutes that govern this, so if I'm not actually quoting them correctly, forgive me. But one of the avenues is if there's an actual breach. And then the other one would be like a mutual termination of the contract. So he would agree, we would agree, but in both cases, the state has to actually approve that. So it is a multi-step process.
So when we talked before about looking at a state, we were actually cart before the horse anyway, because we still had to find an actual legal way out of the contract from our end, for sure.
I think we have options. It's just, you know, whether the availability of another auditor is realistic at this point. Sadly.
The other issue is that conversation, we didn't have a finished audit before, I wanted to have a finished audit before we had conversations about terminating a contract. that
Exactly.
Didn't even have this done, which is why I drug my feet on that.
Right, and we actually haven't
Yes.
strongly pursued another auditor potentially out of state for the same reason.
Same reason.
So now we have this, we may have something to bring to the table and say, hey,
Yeah, it helps us. Yeah. We're in a better situation than we were a month ago.
because I mean, as we go back and we talk about those bonds and things that we kept trying to do, I mean, what the heck were we gonna do? Because we have no credit rating and we're barely closer to having a credit rating with this one. And so I don't, I mean, it seems to me like this should be like number one priority above all priorities, and we even think we're gonna get any sort of funding from the, you know, so.
Yeah, no, sorry.
No, you're good, good points, right on.
So,
Perfect, all right, well, there we have it. Can I get a motion to approve the 22 audit? Can I get a second?
I kind of want
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
look at this before I approve, I'm approving a piece of paper.
Mhm.
That doesn't seem right. Like, I'm gonna have to look at some of these black marks and kind of understand what's going on here before I can approve it.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up before, so.
I mean, I don't need to read every word, but I kind of have to have an idea, and anyway, so yeah, I would like to
We can table it all.
vote on it next meeting.
It doesn't.
Give me some time to look at this. I hate to slow it down, but like, we're 4 years.
I read the second page and fell asleep, so.
It's, there's, you're not slotted, you usually, this is about the right time, though, you usually do it in July or August anyways.
I mean, I hear you. I don't want to read this, but like, we should probably understand and at least know what it's saying or why are we doing audits and.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, I agree with you, I mean, I can tell you, you know, based on his statement and stuff like that, it's gonna be pretty boring, you know, that's for sure, but I understand where you're
Let
coming.
me just glance through it in the next meeting.
I'm good with it,
I appreciate
that's why I said, you know, we do this or we're up, so.
So table that,
So, we good with table?
Sure, I mean, I guess my only, not argument, but point is that this is 3 years before I was even here. I have no idea what was going on in the budget. I mean, whether I read numbers or don't read numbers or any of that kind of stuff, I just don't understand what I'm going to understand or not understand, but the auditors say that we were in line.
Well,
It's not gonna make any difference on that, that's my own.
And the other thing is, we're not gonna be able to change it, because it's like, we're 3 years.
But, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with where Mike's coming from on that, and
That's why I brought it up, so.
I anticipate fully approving it. I would love to just read a few of the words for you.
yeah, I get you, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm just lazy. I'm frustrated and lazy at this point, and I feel like I can't change it, there's nothing in there that's gonna mean much to me. And I really wanna get to where we actually have a credit rating again, so something means something that we're doing. So maybe I'm rushing the thing, but it seems like we've been talking about this since I started, which is 3 years ago.
Yeah. So, perfect, all right, well, at this stage, we'll table the audit until next month.
Can I ask one dumb question?
Yeah.
The lady that semi-put us here, is she still working? That's gotta be wrong.
Did you say yes? I didn't say she.
She is still, yeah.
Wow.
So. All right. As we march on. Okay, new business. Request board approval to add a part-time school nurse position, 0.4 FTE to the requested reduction in hours for school nurse employee Emily Hernandez to employ a full FTE position for the school nurse.
So you remember in the last meeting in June, I had made a recommendation to reduce nursing services to 1 FTE. Shortly after that decision and the board action to reduce to 1 FTE, Emily did request to change her working situation and work 3 days a week, which equates to a 0.6 FTE. And so this is permission to hire a 0.4, 2-day-a-week nurse to make a 1 full-time nurse. So these two, this situation, I think 1 nurse is the right size. These individuals have knowledge of our students and families and situation, and so I am making this recommendation to hire a part-time nurse. We'll see what applicants we get.
Sounds good. All right. Any questions, concerns? Now can I get a motion to approve this request?
All motion.
Can I get a second? Sure. Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, next one, hiring individuals for the middle school activity game officials.
Yeah, so we oftentimes don't have MOAs for middle school activities, games, volleyball, basketball, and whatnot, and so it ends up being teachers or other staff that basically volunteer to say, I'll do it, although I don't have the training, and so this is just approval to get that list of folks included.
Is that list right there on personnel report, game workers?
No,
Those
those
are
are like the scoreboard
Yeah, oh,
and
that's different, okay.
table.
Okay, pretty easy. Can I get a motion to approve the hiring of these middle school? So, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, next one, complete the school board association membership electronic vote. Going through it.
Yeah, so this is an annual vote for members. So we're a member of the Montana School Boards Association, so this is our vote based on what they have proposed for their charter, their legislative advocacy for the upcoming year. So I would suggest that we approve this and have Patrick complete the electronic voting for the board.
It's good.
That is the majority of your informational packet is that survey. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Okay. All right, what questions?
You're voting on those ones.
It's mostly, honestly, it's a little bit of change in the bylaws. Some of this stuff, it's pretty, I would say, perfunctory, not a lot of interest there. Really what you're kind of doing is voting for them to continue their mission of, promoting school boards and that kind of stuff at the legislative level. That's really what So, the other stuff is just, they're just changing like their meeting times and all sorts of stuff. It's really kind of housekeeping. So, but they didn't change anything, I would consider substantial for what they do. So, Any discussion otherwise? If not, can I get a motion to approve the electronic vote? Bill, you need to do it.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, next one, school meal prices, 26, 27.
So Nick, I don't know if you wanna, say anything about this, but your packet does have, a comparison between last year, and so there's some modest increases in meal prices, anywhere, typically 5 to 10 cent changes, over the course of the year.
Pretty much it, yep.
So this is normal, we readjust due to USDA, all that kind of stuff, so it's just adjustments. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the meal prices for 26, 27?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, next one is an easy one, so we do it normally, is the resolution to dispose of obsolete and unsuitable surplus property. We do this every year to get rid of a bunch of stuff that we don't need anymore. So I'm gonna get a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, next one is approval of the rental deal with the college. So,
So I'm guessing that this is still with the Board of Regents. Once that is approved by the Board of Regents, this will come back to us for your consideration. So we'll keep this on the agenda until we see that, but right now it is unfinished.
perfect.
But is it still basically the same amount that they were paying us 5 years ago or whatever?
We increased it.
Yeah.
For some.
What was that, did we, because we were talking about going year to year instead of a longer term, did we put that in there? or what?
Year to year.
It's year to year.
It's been year to year.
Has it been? Oh, I thought we got a 3 year one.
We haven't had three for like 3 years.
Not since we started asking for the bonds. We
Okay.
had like a-
I remember talking about changing this, you know. this
Yeah.
was-
That's the point.
Do they use our custodians or do they have their own?
Our lease includes custody.
Yep.
Like we provide.
Do we provide, do they pay us for
It is,
that?
it is included, as an
In the rent?
umbrella lease charge. And we do have it calculated so that it's a full wash with our expenses.
Have they told you how their attendance is? Because a couple of the classes that we were kind of patronizing had fallen off because it couldn't get enough people to either run them or teach them or sign up for them, so.
My understanding, and Ryan Wells is a better person to get information from on that subject, but my understanding is that more and more their attendance is online
Yeah,
and they have fewer and fewer in-person.
that's what I
classes.
was kind of, the people, so I've sent multiple people in my office to the phlebotomy course.
Yeah.
And, the first go around, like 4 years ago when we did it, it was really smooth and well run, and it's just gone really downhill. And this last time, there was just constant frustration about time changes and things not following through and lab days not being there and teacher not showing up. And so I just wondered if they were really wanting to keep paying us to have nobody there.
They have a new interim dean. The dean that was over UM Bitterroot retired this summer. So they do have someone new in place. That transition, I think, is taking place this month. And then, of course, there's a new president for UM. So lots of changes, I think, administratively. But I have a verbal commitment from Christina Berger that they are committed to leasing the space for the next year at least.
I mean, I guess it's not our issue to find, to help them be successful or not, other than provide the space, but it just seems like.
Ryan continues to work with them to support the Polytech and some of the, college credit courses that they support. So, that's still ongoing and hopefully developing.
Sounds good. So we'll just keep it no action.
Yeah, let's keep it there, so, yeah.
Okay, number 7 is the resolution of the Board of Trustees concerning necessary local, not local supplies, but locally sourced supplies, not reasonable available from other sources.
Yeah.
Approved.
We could go through this, but I do suggest that we table this until we have the full board present, just so that we can talk about this. Christina has crafted, or Christine, not Christina, has crafted the language in the resolution. And I know there's some discussion around it, but we're just trying to get that cleaned up, but trying to have language really mirror the statute if I'm, putting on my legal jargon hat.
That's some of it, right? We want to stay as in line with the statute as we can, for the best interest of the trustee of the SHU as well as the school district.
Perfect. Is he okay with that? Perfect, all right, we'll table it for the next one, hopefully we'll get everybody in here. Usually August is a full. Okay, next one, request to add a $45 class fee for classroom walls to offset field trip costs.
Yeah, the reason behind that is just that there are lots of different activities that take place, lots of field trips, and there are some above and beyond costs for that particular course. So this doesn't equate to a zero-sum sort of situation, but it does help reduce costs for that course.
Maybe they could take 2 jars of peanut butter and 2 jars of jelly this time.
Perhaps.
Right, so they're in that.
If a kid can't pay, is there a way for them to?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great.
So, and we usually, I know we get offset, there's quite a few donors that give us money for this,
Great.
So, cool. Can I get a motion to add this $45 class fee to classroom walls?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. Next one, request to continue the athletic training and sports medicine services we were held. We did this, but maybe we didn't. So that we had already.
We had, PT, I think it was PT.
PTT? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, seemingly works. Garrett will be back out there or whoever.
Yeah.
It's the same contract as every year.
Yeah, right. So, can I get a motion to approve the athletic training and sports medicine services with their help?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second?
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Next one, recommendation to approve First Security Bank's request to place the high school activity checking account into the IntraFi cash services to maintain federal FDIC compliance. Kathy, you want to take a stab at that one?
So I had, First Security Bank called me the other day and they're transitioning all of their accounts. So just in summary, the high school checking account is over $250,000. So it exceeds the FDIC insurance limit. And so they have collateralized assets to help cover that. But this is the new way to do that. And so in essence, my understanding is they would, anything that's over the 250,000 on their side, they would ship to other banks so that it's covered in there. So we really wouldn't see a difference, but it's just how they insure the funds.
Gotcha. Shell game is what you're talking about. That's what it is. So,
But it insures our funds, which is.
well, I know it's protecting us, but it's not too wonderful. I know, exactly. So,
Just don't run on the main.
we won't say anything more than that. Okay, but it protects us on FDIC, so.
It's a creative approach.
It works for us. All right, can I get a motion to approve this request to change the high school checking account to the IntraFi cash service? Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next one, so this is the board committees and appointments. So you guys saw it ahead, any things, this is not set in stone, if you want to be the one.
This might not be the right time to ask, and it doesn't really matter too much, but is there any reason governance couldn't be Wednesday instead of Thursday?
No, it'd be a
Would anybody care? It just makes my life easier if I can meet on the Wednesday instead of the Thursday, because Thursday I don't take a break, it's just.
I think we used to have it on Wednesdays.
I thought that was
I think
too.
we moved it because of you.
Me?
I would think it was because the meetings are on Wednesday.
Oh, it was the mass meetings, that's right.
That's fine, I mean, we can keep it Thursdays, it's only once a month, but It doesn't matter.
I think we could still potentially do it on Wednesdays. I'm willing to try that, and we'll just see if that becomes a conflict.
It's not like a make or break for me, it just, if it doesn't matter, then Wednesday's better than Thursday, but if it does, then Thursday's fine.
There's no difference.
Yeah, Wednesday's work for me, so.
So start August.
Yeah, let's start in August, we'll try the Wednesday before, and then if we run into a problem with WMAS and that becomes an issue, then we'll talk about it.
Still new.
Still there.
Okay. Perfect. Is lunch better on Wednesday than Thursday? I'm just kidding. I don't eat your lunch anyway.
It's hard. So, but yeah, and look at the committees, if you're unhappy, then just let me know, and so these are not set in stone, you can flip around and change anything, and stuff like that. Also, just so you know, when these meetings, you can definitely show up, you won't be on the whatever voting, but you can definitely show up as a concerned citizen. Yeah, so it's just, we try not to say that it's like, whole board meetings, stuff like that, so you're not gonna be voting per se, but you can show up as a citizen for the right, because these are open meetings. So I leave that to you too, so. And knowing how it is, it's usually just, very few people in there, guys, so you're good. So, okay. That's just information, we'll do actions on this. Okay, next one is the approval for the high school aviation STEM curriculum.
Yeah, so Marlon and Ryan worked on, so Alton Arnold is a certified aviation mechanic and has the proper endorsements for this. So this was opportunistic between the charter and getting certifications for students in aviation sorts of fields, mechanic sorts of things. So this is to purchase the curriculum so that he can teach this course, which would lead to some certifications for aviation. So this is new for us. I think it's kind of an exciting thing to be able to offer.
Can adults do
We could potentially have an adult ed class.
Let's do adult ed.
If we wanted to teach an adult ed class, we could maybe do something.
That would be really cool, that's how.
So, sounds good. All right, this is an easy one. Can we get a motion to approve this high school aviation STEM curriculum? So, can I get a second? Next one, traffic education program. So,
Yeah, so there's a summary in your packet, but essentially we have been offering driver's education within the school day. We've had some staffing switches and changes. So the course will now be taught outside of the typical day. We plan to pay that hourly. And so for hourly instruction, there's some flexibility there, and hourly for the behind the wheel training as well. That gives us some flexibility if there are multiple driver's ed instructors to be working in that.
Were we teaching that during the school day before? Because I thought my kids all had to go like 6 AM or 7 AM or something before class.
Probably to drive.
Could have been an early morning behind the wheel drive or something like that.
I thought it was the class that Bonus was teaching was like before school, I guess I would.
used to be.
Your older girls,
Yeah,
the two older
yes.
ones stood up and not the
So-
younger one.
And then we absorbed it for cost reasons. We absorbed it into the school day because then,
And they worked in there hourly.
yeah.
Is
So
there a fee for the students?
There is.
Yeah.
And the fee stays the same. No, it's 330. 330 for driver's education.
And it's actually worked really well since we got the driver's thing in Hamilton instead of Stevensville, but since Stevensville was a train wreck.
In this particular situation, I really feel like the course is not a course for graduation. They're not earning credit. So I feel like offering this course outside the typical school day is the more appropriate way to do this. Plus, I think hourly, it just leaves us more flexibility for payment.
Do we have staff for that already?
We do.
Yeah. I saw that on our resignation.
Yeah.
We're using one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But we also have a couple of potential people that can sub in the class and or help with behind the wheel training as well.
Is that hazard pay?
it is not hazard pay. It should be. So, perfect. That sounds good. So can I get a motion? This is just
Informational.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we're not doing it. These, because you're just changing it. Perfect. Future levy elections.
Yeah. And again, I think this is one where I just want to plant the seed. We don't need to finalize the discussion and make a decision, but potentially this could be part of our conversation in August as well. So, by August 20th, if we plan to do any sort of bond levy, whatever it may be, in the November election, we would have to have the proper resolution in place by August 20th if we planned on doing that. The benefit of running something like that in November would be voter turnout. There is some school of thought that says, if you need it, you run it every year and every single time. There's also the school of thought that says the community has spoken and time to take a break and reconvene. And so I just am planting that seed for all of you to think about. Again, I'm not looking for a decision, but I think we have to have one in August if November is something that the board feels motivated to do.
My thinking's on the second camp. They told us to stop asking. Maybe we should just stop asking for a minute.
But on the other hand, it took 16 tries to get the high school, 20? It was a large number.
Not that many.
No, somebody said 16.
I think that's the total, how many we've gone through that were negative.
Not necessarily
In
just
the
the
high
high
school,
school,
but
but
the
ones
ones
that we
like
have negatives.
3 or 4 asking for themselves, but there's been a long history of not getting anything approved. So,
Eventually people sometimes say yes.
and that's what I thought. So I think for me, I think looking, next month is the budget, and kind of looking and seeing how that looks. This year, budgetary wise, we were kind of surprised by what we had. So that will kind of see, what we're looking like in terms of recovery and that kind of stuff to see how we're looking. The other things are changing, tuition things changing to 20%. There's quite a few moving parts, I guess. I'm trying to figure out how that looks and how if we do it. So kind of looking at those as before we completely say yes or no, because to me that's the way you have to think about it. I still think we still need to look down this road. We're still only 97%, so we're still 3% plus. I don't know what next legislative is going to look like. I do know this, is that they're trying to pass that flat tax too, and so that means there's going to be less money in the coffers. And so that just means that, these great plans that NTSBA and stuff like that to try to pass the CTSCPs and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to necessarily go so well when they're already going to take out a ton of money by, taking out the top of the flat tax. So, I think we have to think through some of that. I don't think the funding formula is going to change like I wish it would, for schools either. So,
I would think if we're gonna do anything, we should keep it as simple as possible. We tried a bond and levy combined, that was a joke. We tried 2 levies at the same time, that went really poorly. I'm not sure that one levy by itself would have done any better, but certainly asking for less and less.
Requesting funds, public funds, even with the county roads, was met with almost the exact same percentage of yes to no, as our bonds or levies. So I don't think we need to take it personal. I think people are maybe just maxed out.
Well, it was also a very small amount of eligible voters actually voted.
Yeah.
So it's a minority of the community having their say. I don't know if more people voting would help us or hurt us, but.
Traditionally, we've done better when we have more voting. That's the other times that we did it was either presidential elections and that kind of stuff. We've done better because we do better when we actually have walk-ins too. So that's
Going along with this, if we don't run a bond, then we need to start talking about how much money are we willing to put in to the middle school.
100%. We kind of.
And that's a big.
100%. I think that's something we've talked about, because we even said, we need to we figure out what we're gonna do with the pod, and get kids out of the pod and all that kind of stuff. We do have Westview, all of that kind of stuff, so I think, but I'm not sure we can get all that together in a month.
Oh, but that's, we're not gonna, if we decide not to run bonds for a while, then how much money we're gonna put into that middle school?
We need to be thinking that way anyways, because we can decide to run a bond every single year. And if people keep voting no, we still don't get the money. So we're still in the same situation. Like deciding whether or not we ask for money has no bearing on whether or not we can get any money.
Or well, if we put $300,000 into middle school windows, nobody's gonna wanna tear that building down.
It is a good myself.
But also there are like garbage cans catching water, which is not great for our middle schoolers. And it's hot and cold and moldy and it's a tricky facility to keep putting our like most, maybe not most vulnerable, but like, man, the kids that are having a hard time already because of hormones. As I speak about my 13-year-old, to then put them in like a school that's not in great condition.
I agree that there's a need to build a new school.
But money doesn't just appear.
No,
We
and
just
like,
gotta
how do
find
we, how do
I've
we?
tried all of those avenues of explaining to the public and trying to get them to see or care has been a losing proposition.
You just show the mouse traps.
I mean, we tried
Yeah.
having open house to people show up, we had like 15 people. I mean, we've
And
done,
those are all teachers.
yeah. It really is, the most frustrating thing is trying to figure out how to reach the public and have them actually understand that they're putting their tax dollars towards their community, but the way that people vote is that they think that, oh my gosh, I can turn down a tax, it's the only tax I can turn down, they have no comprehension that this is actually the only time you get to vote to benefit your own community, and they do know, because they're so angry with paying taxes in general.
Well, there are a lot of people that are very strapped right now. Like, you go to the grocery store and it's incredible how high bills are, and like everything is up except for wages. So I do understand people not wanting to, even if they want to have a better school for their community, like if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. So I see both sides, but it's disappointing that people are not more invested in the children of the community. Or that like they don't have the support around being able to be invested. Just another way to think about it.
So, agreed. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing, it's like they're all great points, I think coming up with, going to Mark's point, you know, is, and Mike's point is coming up with that thought process of like, what movements are we going to make? And I know Eli brought this up before multiple times too, like, sometimes the community wants to see us do something, right? And the action is important, so thinking forward of like what we're going to do, because then, okay, so this is the 5-year plan, you know, regardless of asking for money or not, what is the 5-year plan? Well, we're planning to get out of, you know, either put money towards or basically move out of.
I mean, a big moment for us years ago was shutting down Grassdale.
100%.
And it kind of moved the public a little bit.
Yeah. And honest to goodness, let's be real about the other stuff. I mean, why the high school bond passed 26 plus years ago, well, actually longer than that, 28 plus years ago, was because there was this threat of the middle school and that kind of stuff, which I don't want to bring up that whole thought process, but that alerted the public.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying is sometimes there needs to be a cosmic move of some sort to get their attention, you know? And that's what I'm kind of thinking, is like, if we say, look, we're gonna have to move out because we're just not doing this anymore in terms of bond or whatever or something like that, and that will get their attention. And I think saying that we're done trying to play this game of like, you know, patching things up with duct tape, you know, and that's not saying bad things to Jamie and all those guys, it's an old building.
So is there a way, I mean, one of the things I don't know, I mean, when we were talking just a couple of weeks ago about buying the new vehicles and stuff like that, we ended the year with a $200,000 surplus or whatever. I mean,
I'm not saying that we didn't need the vehicles, or I'm not saying, I mean, all that stuff we take into consideration, but it seems like since I've been on the board, if we get to the end of the year and we have a couple $100,000, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, there's a shiny mower and there's 3 new thises and we need a new snowplow, and let's get something that sweeps the sidewalk. And $200,000 is gone, but if we have that $200,000, you said, look, here's the deal. We have a budget surplus by a little bit. It's not a lot. It sounds like a lot if you're a private citizen. $200,000 goes in a heartbeat if you're in a school district. But instead of saying, okay, well, let's liquidate everything we got over so we can start at 0 in August, why don't, instead of, hurrying and spending that, again, I'm not saying we don't need those things or didn't need those things, but is it possible that we could maybe try to not spend everything in the budget and have something in, I mean, even if it's minor,
Yeah, we're caught, and
I know.
can talk to that. I mean, I think we did some of that, obviously, because we increased reserves, right? That's how you do that. But that's, you can only do reserves to a certain amount.
right.
So if you don't fully expend your budget
Right.
and, then you'll see, because I was thinking of the summary, so you can only have 10% reserve. So once you fill that bucket up, then anything left over goes to reduce taxes. So you can't, in theory, say.
So it goes to nothing for the school district if we don't spend it. But can we put it into something, I mean, we're talking about, middle school needs, all this kind of stuff, I guess. Is there a more, in the public's view, is there a better steward of that money than we bought in Acadia?
Yeah, well, I think you're
That's all I'm
exactly
saying.
right.
I'm not- again,
What
I'm
you're
not
trying to
saying
say
it's
exactly right,
exactly
and it's the little bit of feedback that I've gotten from, folks that I've talked to in the community is, I think they want to see us with a strategic plan. Like, here's what we want to do in X, Y, and Z, or in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, so that we can have these committees creating these priorities, so that when we get to the end of the year, if we do have funds that are left over, we can direct those funds to, yes, we said we wanted to do this, so let's get that taken care of.
So I guess that's the direction I was heading, is it feels like we're trying to be proactive and we're trying to head in the direction to head off some of these disasters that are obviously imminent on the horizon. And we can't get the public to pass a bond, and the government doesn't give us any other way to save money or spend money on building a new school. Then is there a way to take those funds in some way and put them in something that's not windows that are gonna get torn down, or not a new boiler or a new building we're trying to get rid of, or these kinds of things? I guess that's the kind of thinking that I might make a difference, is if we can say, this is our 5-year plan. We know you don't want to pass a $60 million bond. We're trying to come up with whatever we can do to make that. Can we start a renovation project we can put into a new school? I don't know. I'm just saying.
I think, there's, and Dave will speak more to this too, and Kathy can too, is that, the problem is as we hit certain numbers, then we have to do bids, right? But, and that's the other part of the problem. So if we only have a month to work in, we don't have enough time to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so that's.
We don't know ahead of time enough to make that.
Exactly, so we kind of run into some timeline issues when we're dealing with that, but trying to figure out, and that's, trying to work through and trying to figure out, okay, so what potentially might be the money left over, and stuff like that. But I think, looking at these different aspects of, okay, so what can we do that are below that will improve X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. Even in, I know Mark's talked about this plenty of times, but how do we reduce our debt load, right? So whatever loans we have out, so therefore if we're trying to, because then we could take out a bigger loan to do a huge renovation of some sort. But we need to unload debt load, right? We can't keep on taking out more loans. I mean, you're just gonna get yourself buried, right? So that's not the point. The point is, if you have that, can you pay down your debt load, therefore then you can open up potentially more value to it, because you can get, intercap loans and stuff like that to do those on properties that already within, you can't expand, but you can work on the property that you have.
I mean, I hear all these ideas, but what your comfort, and like I remember during the spring, I worked on track meet, Mr. Williams comes up and he shows me a picture from his phone, it's 104 degrees in his room. And they're teaching class. Like, how do we make it more comfortable for the students when they're in the school learning without improving the windows, or improving the insulation, or improving the air conditioning system, all stuff which is capital improvement to the school that we don't want to be in anymore. And so we're kind of, there's some tricky situations here. We can improve some things, but we don't want to improve those things, but that's what we need to improve so the kids can not be sweating and focusing on what Mr. Williams and all the other teachers are saying.
What's the feasibility of putting 5, 6, or 7, 8 in Westview?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because we've talked about that multiple
I went
times.
to Westview, it was fine.
Yeah, you were
in the
supposed to be
90s.
7, 8, something like that, yeah. So it's, I think, one of the things, obviously, we have Bitterroot College in there, although their footprint in terms of in person is getting smaller and smaller. They will even admit to it. And so it's trying to figure out how we can do that. There are probably not enough classrooms right now to do that, and we'd have to do some renovations if I remember correctly.
And there's, I think, some accreditation stuff too, with gym space and things.
Yeah, so we'd have to look into this, because that was one of the things that we did look into when we were running the bonds, is that we had A&E Designs basically try to carve it out and then do that, and there was some pretty significant renovations that needed to happen to do that, but, I'm not opposed to figuring out how to do that, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
It just seems like the pod is the bigger problem, and Westview and the pod have a similar footprint. I don't remember.
It's
I
a-
also was in the pod in high school, so.
Yeah, the pod's a
Been in all
little
these
bit
buildings,
bigger.
and in Washington.
So.
Here.
But we could, I think that's what the thought process is, kind of thinking through those aspects, and I think that's,
Then we have to get creative, because I don't see the community passing a bond in the near future, and I do see that poor building either taking up all of our custodial time to get it fixed, or to mop up all the issues.
yeah, I think when I see that possibly passing or looking at passing, which is based off still, is when all the bonds fall off. And we still have a ways to go. So before those fall off. What passed the last one over the state and stuff like that, as much as we can say anything, is really the fact that it was a tax neutral thought process. And that was a big seller for why we could get the daily expansion and the stadium all at once. So as those bonds fall off, high school bonds, all that kind of stuff, which were still 17, 18 years away from.
So you're saying when you passed the stadium bond, some other bonds were falling off
Yes.
at the same time?
The high school.
The high school bonds.
So
So it was basically right there.
Yeah,
So that's what really sold it heavily, was the fact that your taxes weren't gonna change. But you can vote for this and you'll get these things, but your taxes won't change. That was the big selling point. So,
And improving daily
yes.
helped a lot, more so than the stadium.
So,
Yeah.
That's
Because it helps.
that's encouraging.
Because of the elementary kids.
Schools should be slightly more important than athletics.
but, I think, these are all great things to continue to talk about, and as we move forward, coming up with that strategic plan, I think is a perfect thought process.
But that's why we hired Dave.
Right.
And that's part of the goal of the facilities committee, right, is to be thinking about this a little more.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And those-
Yeah, exactly.
We can have more thorough discussions and then report out to the board and really try to build some ideas and some thoughts and make some moves.
So, perfect. All right. More to come on that. All right, no updates on the church school, we're just moving along. Second reading graduation ceremonies, this was just to add the military regalia, if I remember correctly. So, for that's all. So that one, we just need a motion to approve the graduation, the policy 2333.
More reflective of what we're actually doing.
It's just adding the military regalia.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, all right, we're all done. Next meeting, August 11th, right here, starting the school year, all that good stuff, exciting, all that good. So everybody can come back refreshed after 1 month. Good stuff. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you.